All right,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday night, August 13th, and we have a guest appearance to the Nutrition and Fitness 101. Christy Gallacci is joining us. So in New York, Samantha B is in Hawaii. And so after a week with relatives and friends and lots of questions about the experiment and why do you do this and why do you do that, and then struggles from all of you, Christy started to talk about her struggles. So real quick recap to talk about what's going on with Christy. So as most of you know, but we'll just give a little recap, she came to us to California from New Jersey, January 2017, had suffered with rheumatoid arthritis for 15, 20 years. So both of her shoulders were literally destroyed. We knew she needed to have shoulder surgery on both of them. When she came to us at 5'1", she was almost 180 pounds. She could barely walk across the parking lot to get to the movies. When we went one day with Felicia and our other cousins, and she was in bad shape. And so, basically we get home, start feeding her the Mama G lifestyle, sending her to Mama G boot camp, dragging her to the gym with me. Now you have to remember that she was not exercising at this point in her life, and she was 75 years of age at that moment. And so her exercise was sitting on a recumbent bike and getting her on the treadmill. She was so deconditioned and her shoulders were so damaged they couldn't even help her get on the treadmill. We had to drag a step over because she couldn't climb that 1 foot up on top of the treadmill. She needed that 6 inches and the 6 inches, and she needed help doing that. So understand we had somebody who was very, very deconditioned, somebody who was, 1/3 overweight, and we were starting at rock bottom. We learned a few days later that not only did she need shoulder surgery, she needed to have her shoulders replaced, and not only were her shoulders so bad that they needed to be replaced, she had to have something called reverse shoulder replacement, which the ligaments and tendons and muscles in her shoulders were so damaged that they had to do this really special procedure for her. So big deal. And luckily it got delayed because of all that diagnoses. It took us about 8 weeks to finally get to that first surgery, and she had lost 20 pounds between then and that point. So that was good because she was much fitter. She was lighter, which is going to reduce her risks of having general anesthesia, and she was stronger. So everything was a positive in terms of the timing there. Had a successful surgery, made sure immediately that I checked with the physician and the physical therapist about when I could drag her back to the gym. And by the way, it was only about a week later, sling and tote, right? Which she was in a sling for 4 to 6 weeks between the surgeries each time. And guess what? Put her on the recumbent bike. And she was completely capable of sweating her way on the recumbent bike and burning those calories. All right. So along the way, before we could have the next.
In the meantime, can I interrupt you?
Interrupt.
They would walk over to me, her and Sam. Everybody knows who Sam is, right? They would go faster. Do it faster. I'm pedaling.
Increase the intensity.
So I know when they were there, I was really, and I started to sweat.
And she learned
to
sweat.
Said, this is what should be happening. And I had my arm in the sling.
Yeah.
So I could only hold on. Well, I don't really have to hold on.
Well, and it took us about 4 weeks before we felt safe to put her on the treadmill again, where she could hold on with her good arm.
But go faster. Put it on faster. And I raised it a little bit, more, raised the tension. But it was very interesting how you can do it. See that? That brought me to that point where I knew that I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. We're going to go back and forth. And, the thing is, it was a struggle. Let me tell you. You talk about headbutting here. You're always doing this, telling me what to do. I'm like, yeah, that's why you came to California. So Mama G could hold your hand. Let me have your hand. So I could hold your hand and kick your ass into shape. But anyway, you should all feel lucky that you don't have to live with me. But fact is, she got beautiful, nutritious, and delicious food put in front of her. 8 weeks later, she probably lost about 20 pounds going into that surgery. Everything was good from it. We come out of it. She recovered beautifully, went on to rehab, And we had health concerns in between. She had all of a sudden, she was starting to feel faint and dizzy. And, Mama G, super paranoid, got her to the doc where we found out from blood work that her calcium level in her blood, okay, not your bone density, but the calcium level in your blood, like your sodium, like your potassium, related to your heart, was off kilter. And then we had to figure out why it was off kilter, because, by the way, being off with your electrolytes, which is what those are, could literally stop your heart. So it was really critical that that was found out why. As soon as we found out what the issue was in terms of her sodium being dysfunctional, or being at a dysfunctional level, they hospitalized her. And it took about a week for them to get through the diagnosis, which was a defunct parathyroid. And then she was able to come home. They adjusted her medication somewhat. We had to increase her calcium level because she wasn't getting enough calcium. And then she had to have parathyroid surgery out of the blue. So that surgery occurred in June. She did beautifully recovering from that. Guess what? All of her balance issues went away. As a matter of fact, she had those balance issues from the get-go because the parathyroid was starting to become dysfunctional. And we had no idea because we assumed this was normal Christy. We assumed with her rheumatoid arthritis and her shoulders being so damaged that she had balance issues. No, her body was telling us something. And this is why I am so diligent with all of you, that I am not going to let you get away with not getting blood work, not being all over in terms of have you had pap smears and colonoscopies and bone densities and all of those things, right? Because we look at the whole body. And Mark Cousineau, he thinks he's being funny.
No, Mark.
He's standing here like we are in the NYU Langone Medical Center on Doctor's Radio. Wouldn't that be awesome? Maybe Mama G and Samantha people make it big someday, and you guys feel we knew them when they were just starting out.
Before Dr. Radio even happened, it was Mama G.
All right, folks, keep it quiet in the background. Anyway.
Why would you do it in Kauai?
Oh, and there's Samantha B coming.
Hey, Sam.
All right, I'm gonna mute you unless you you don't have a loud baby by you, Samantha. Can we keep you on?
She's chilling right now, but you can mute me.
Okay. All right. Well, aloha. So, anyway, so we get through all of those things and we reach goal weight. Now, let's talk about this because some of you have said, well, how do I know when I reach goal weight? How do we know when we reach goal weight? Well, guess what that looks like? That looks like, you can sit down, Chris.
Yeah, I'm burning calories.
Yeah. You see my sister, she's standing up and she says, I'm burning calories. Now here, let me give you this clarification. When we are at rest like we are, do you know what our primary fuel source is? Fat. It doesn't mean you get to sit around and do nothing because you know that your primary fuel source when you're sitting here is fat, because that's not going to get us a calorie deficit. But anyway, what happened with Cousin Christy? She says, well, what do you think I should weigh? I used to weigh this way back when, right? So I said, let's make our first goal, because she was at 178. Let's make it 150. All right, we get to 150. She said, should we keep going? I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to keep going. You'll know when you don't need to keep going. I think we made our second goal was 140. We get there. She said, what do you think? I'm like, we're still going. Get to 130. She said, what do you think? I said, well, I think we're getting close. And then when we got to 125, I said, I think we're close, really getting close. And then when she hit 120, I said, ding, 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 this is your bottom weight. 120 is her bottom weight. We like to sit between about 120 and 122. And we'll talk about where that weight is today, 1 year later. But the bottom line is she had made goal weight before her second shoulder surgery, weighing 120 pounds, living the lifestyle at that point, and very, very active. Remember that she went from somebody who did pretty much no activity other than going to work, and that going to work was very, very difficult on her body. And now she's somebody who could go to the gym for an hour or two because she would get in the pool and she would do cardiovascular exercises and she would take a pool class and then she might take a chair class and then she would come home and she could walk to CVS to get her medication or just take a walk or go up to the church, things she could never do before. So this is what I want you guys to really listen to. Getting your exercise in and eating your food macros and your fitness macros done is great, but you being a more active individual all the time is what's going to allow you to reach your goals sooner and to be able to maintain your weight more steadily because you will be doing more. You're more metabolically active, right, in your daily life, but you also gain muscle, which is more metabolically active again, all right? We always talk about weekend warriors and, a lot of these people, these, lazy athletes, they go out there and they do their thing and then they literally sit the rest of the day. So keep yourself moving, park far away when you go to the mall or the grocery store, use the stairs, and have an active life. I mean, Lisa Photo's the prime example of somebody who literally couldn't get down and up off the ground by herself. God forbid that she could curl up from laying on the floor and get herself up all by herself. And today, Lisa is literally killing, the lifestyle, exercising beautifully 5 days a week. And on Sundays, her husband, a bike enthusiast, now gets his wife to join him. And this gal is spending time with her husband with these beautiful bike rides all over the world, actually, because she was able to do some bike riding in Alaska. And when she's been on vacation, she's able to do those things with her grandkids. And she's looking forward to this winter actually skiing with them. So this is what living a long, healthy, independent life means, is that you have the capability of doing anything, anytime, any place, given who you are and where you sit, all right? So that's what you need to focus on. So moving on, Christy reached goal, had her neck surgery, recovered beautifully. Again, back to the gym a week later. And then Christy had to leave us, go back to reality. 14 months later, she left us, went back to New Jersey, has now been working full-time in retail at Macy's, where she's doing, 10,000 plus steps a day. And she's tired. There's a lot of activity, a lot of calorie burn going on, a lot of movement from her body, and she was trying to hit the gym before or after on her 5-day-a-week full-time job days, and it wasn't happening. And then what typically happens to a lot of us is, remember what you told me, well, if I can't get there all 5 days, then maybe I just won't go at all. And you kind of fell into that habit, correct?
Well, I did go, but it wasn't a steady. We talked about because I burned so many calories at work that Gina said, well, maybe we should just go to the gym 3 days a week instead of 5. And that gave me, wow, that sounds a little better. But don't forget, she wasn't with me. I wasn't. I would go to the gym, but then I started falling off the ladder.
Not falling down.
Falling off the ladder, just falling. And I still kept my goal weight because I was burning so many calories and lifting and clothes and hanging clothes and carrying clothes around.
But the problem that occurs at this point is, yes, she's burning she's more active, right? With her activities of daily living, her work.
That's right.
But what happens to the muscle that she has gained? What happens with the mobility that she has gained, right? What happens with the strength that she has gained? What happened with the cardiovascular capability that she's gained? Guess what? If you don't do it, it goes away. And what happened in the gym today?
Okay, today in the gym, I got on the treadmill with Gina. I did my mile. I did a little running, which was excellent. My heart rate came up and was perfect. When I tried the Stepmaster.
Well, first you went to the elliptical.
I went to the elliptical, and because of my the doctor called me on Friday, and my numbers are up with the RA. So something's going on with the rheumatoid arthritis.
So autoimmune disease,
careful.
right? So she has infusions.
Yeah, so I got on the elliptical, and my knees were bothering me. I says, "Oh wow, this is not good," because it never bothered me before. So I got off of it because I was trying. I said, maybe if I go slower. I went slower, and it didn't help it. So I said, well, maybe I'll try the Stairmaster. Gina was on the treadmill running.
Oh,
So
I was walking.
you were
Today was a
walking,
300-calorie walk.
Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't running.
So she wasn't running. But I got on the Stairmaster and put it on very slow. My heart rate came up so much that it was like I couldn't breathe anymore. So I had to pause it, get off, and I said to Gina, I can't do it. I have to stop. Just get on the treadmill and just keep walking. Walk slowly and keep walking. Bring your heart rate down, which I did. So I said, well, maybe I'll get on the bike now.
The spin bike.
The
She likes the
spin
spin
bike.
bike
I like
now.
the spin bike. And I did that for a while, for 10 minutes, I think I did it. And that I like. My knees didn't bother me too much with that.
All right. So with the rheumatoid arthritis, occasionally she gets flares, just like any of you who have any other type of autoimmune diseases or whatever situations. When that happens, we defer to the expert, which is her endocrinologist or rheumatologist.
Right.
And so they're going to be upping her medication, and all of this should resolve itself. But the point being is that issue on the Stairmaster was your lack of cardiovascular capability and endurance. And that is the reality of all of a sudden taking away that component of your life. So Christy has been moved back down to phase 1, level 1 with the fitness macros. And we have penned out her work schedule and her workout schedule, because just like every single one of you in the experiment, we expect to see a schedule from you. Just like I expect to get questions about your food during the day so that we can hit macros, and I can help you with going out to dinners and hitting your macros with your meals. We've also told you that we want accountability because you've asked for it. Samantha B and I are right here to hold your hand through it with your fitness. So we want it on paper. Of course, things come up, but if something comes up, where are you going to move that meeting with your body to take care of old ticker and those muscles, right? You don't get to just push it aside. Just like you don't get to push aside the fact that you were busy and you forgot to eat lunch. Doesn't work that way. Your body could care less that you were busy. Your body needs those calories. And we're trying to get most of you back in the habit of eating, because that's the reason we are in this group in the first place. All right. So we've got Christy all penned out here. She knows exactly what it's going to look like. I do not expect her to do any cardiovascular exercise on her 5 days a week that she's working full time. What do I expect on those days? Mobility. 2 of those days she happens to go in at 1:30. She will go to the gym and get a little cardio done and do her little bit of strength. And then on her 2 days off, back to the gym again. On that day, we'll have some cardio. She can get in the pool because she loves being in the pool, and she'll take care of that strength. So we've knocked off those 5 days of cardio. We've knocked off those 4 days of mobility, and we've knocked off those 3 days of strength. All right. So if you need help with figuring it out in your crazy lifestyle, that's why Mama G and Samantha B are here with you to hold your hand. So Christy sends me religiously a picture of her pretty toes, even though the rest of you know you're supposed to send your graph. She has her head down right here from MyFitnessPal. And I want to see those last couple of weeks of your weights. Because by the way, folks, if you think that I remember your weight from the week before, you're nuts. The old hard drive is full. Okay? Otherwise, I'd have to sticky tab all over me for every one of you, and that would not be very pretty. So every week she sends me a picture of her toes and that nice little weight. And she is nicely sat since she's been gone from February in that 120 to 122. Well, apparently what happened last Tuesday, Christy?
Last Tuesday.
What did the scale say, Christy?
Oh, it was up. It was up by 2 pounds.
So what was the number?
I'm not going to tell you the number.
124.
124.
And guess what? Mama G was so busy getting ready for her trip, she didn't realize that, Christy, failed to send the picture of her pretty little toes with the weight. And she, on purpose, made a decision not to tell me, which means that we couldn't have a conversation to talk about what the game plan would be. Because what the game plan would be, because she is somebody who's a lifestyler, we have added in a third snack into her day. So just like all of us, regardless of what your situation is, we eat our 3 meals a day. We follow the cheat sheet, right? Where we're eating 350 to 400 calories a day. We are getting in around 150 to 200 calories from our starchy, grainy carbs, according to the cheat sheet, at every meal with a maximum of 500, right? We are getting in 50 calories plus of non-starchy veggies, according to the cheat sheet, at lunch and dinner. You want more than that? You get it in breakfast. You get it in the snack. I am all for it. But Lisa Photo, right? Those macros have to balance out. So if you're eating more veggies, non-starchy veggies during the day, you better check your pie chart as you go, because you probably need to maybe have it with a little cottage cheese, right, Lisa? Or a little yogurt dip so that we can get up the protein, and then maybe we have a few nuts to get up that fat as well. So this is why Mama G is with you, holding your hands through the experiment for the first 90 days and for however long you choose, or if you need to come back in the future, because this is where you learn. I'm math class, and I teach you how to do these things so that it becomes a lifelong habit for you. Now, that being said, when you move into the lifestyle, you get more food. And so Cousin Christy was at the point where she needed 3 snacks a day. And let me tell you, that's kind of a fun place to be when you're getting extra food, all right? Or you're getting larger snacks, like Krista gets right now. She's like, I don't have time for a 3rd snack. Well, I said, increase the quantity of the 2 snacks you get. But Christy doesn't tell me that her weight's up. When I would have said to her, step 1, let's get rid of 1 snack. That's 200 to 250 calories. That immediately could have taken a half a pound down off the scale, if not more, just because we would have also had a conversation of her getting back to the gym and getting some cardiovascular exercise. So every time you guys pull back because of your fear that you're failing, and then Mama G, never Samantha B, she's always nice to you guys, but Mama G is going to wag the old finger, right? And make suggestions at what you need to be doing and how you need to get back on the bandwagon. You don't want that. You don't want the correction. You want to ignore it. So don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You know, I self-sabotage myself. And that's a real harsh word, I think. But the sabotaging, maybe sabotaging might be...
It's not harsh. It's a fact.
Well, it is, but I don't...
Fact.
But I cheated. I'm a chocoholic, and
When did you have chocolate?
no, I didn't have it today.
When
I had a little
you
yesterday.
said you cheated. So is that your cheat?
No, that wasn't cheating.
No.
Because I just had my dessert
Wait a
yesterday.
minute.
Last night.
You said you're a chocoholic. This is what we do all the time.
Wait,
You said you're a chocoholic.
Well, the other day, coming home from work, I stopped off at the store and I bought some chocolate. And then
Wait, what kind of chocolate?
Hershey's.
So you bought a Hershey bar.
I didn't buy Godiva.
So you bought a
That's
Hershey
even
bar.
worse. More fat.
And you ate the Hershey bar?
And Godiva.
And you ate,
I ate the Hershey bar.
Okay.
And then I went home and I had a delicious dinner because the food is delicious. I love the food. I stick to that. But it's what I'm craving. And they're not urges, they're cravings. So I know that the old saying was feed an urge, but let the craving will go away. Oh, no, don't feed an urge, but the other way. It's the opposite.
I don't know. Feed a cold, starve a
No,
fever?
if you have an urge for a chocolate, ignore it because it's going to go away. But if that craving continues for a couple of weeks and you really want that chocolate, then you go out and you buy it. And you just get it over. When I quit smoking many years ago, many, many years ago, I never wanted to smoke again. I had the desire to smoke, so I didn't want to sabotage myself with that. I was gaining weight, but I would say, well, I'll deal with the weight after I get the smoking habit. But I used to say to myself, I'll have a cigarette tomorrow. And that made me feel better. It's like the next day came and the craving was still there. I'll have it tomorrow. Because I really didn't want to start smoking again. A lot of my friends did because they were gaining weight, but I was too. But the smoking was just something I didn't want to do. So I never sabotaged myself with the smoking. Why am I doing it now? What's the difference between then and now? I was gaining weight. My clothes were getting tight on me.
When you were smoking. When you quit smoking.
When I quit. And I had to buy larger sizes, but I knew that I would never smoke again. But I would say, I'll have that cigarette tomorrow. So what's going on now in my brain that's not like letting me do that?
Okay, so let's keep going. So you had the chocolate bar, and then you came home and you ate your normal, nutritious, delicious
dinner,
meal.
And then I
it?
had popcorn.
Okay, so then she had an extra
on top
snack.
of that, an extra snack on top of that. It's almost like just putting something in your mouth and just having your mouth move. You're watching TV.
So can anybody relate to those feelings? Can you raise your hand? Oh, Felicia's raising her hand. Anybody else want to raise? Oh, Kieran's raising her hand. Oh, Susan's over there raising her hand. All right. So here's the deal. Now our weight's up. That's the reason we get on the scale every week, so that we actually have a red flag, right? That's your warning sign. That's the hurricane alarm going off. The tornado's coming, whatever it is. So the smart thing to do would be to hunker down, right? And number one, talk to Mama G and Samantha B and say, hey, I'm struggling, right? So now you get support. Second thing to do would be to go on the Facebook group and say, hey, folks, I'm struggling here. Can anybody give me any help? Can you hold my hand? Can you tell me what worked for you, all right? Step one, you've got to reach out to your people and your village. That's rule number one. Rule number two, if you had that support, you probably would have thought through that candy bar, right? You would have thought through that popcorn. And we could have gotten right back on the bandwagon.
That's true, Jean. You're right. And I did try to do something, but I know I'm looking in her because I'm used to like looking in her face to face, but my hours at work are they're long. And I do burn a lot of calories. It's like we measured the steps. I come home exhausted.
Okay.
I come home extremely tired. And that, I'm not sure if that takes over in my brain because I'm so tired I can't think anymore. All I can think of is, what can I eat? What can I eat that makes me feel better? Can I have a piece of chocolate? Would that make me feel? It doesn't make me feel better. I'm still tired. I'm still tired.
And wait a minute. It's not like you've been doing that with the chocolate.
No.
It's just,
but it can happen.
Right. And that's where willpower comes in. That's where reaching out to your support system comes in. That is your only option here. That we have to find that willpower, and you find that willpower not alone, because how are we all succeeding? We're succeeding together, right? You have not succeeded on your own with weight loss and maybe desire to get healthy, which I don't know that was even in any of your minds until Mama G and Samantha B pushed it in there. But you were not successful at maintaining or losing or anything with your weight until you had a game plan and a village. And so this is the big disclaimer. If you are struggling, reach out. We are here to help you. And now we have a game plan, right? But what happened to Christy is I didn't find out about this 2 pounds, right? Only in 1 week. So I'm not really concerned that it's 2 pounds of fat, all right? But she didn't tell me this till after I just found out. So now we go to do the party, right? We were together for dinner on Saturday night or Friday night. Everybody's drinking wine. She normally can have wine because if you're a lifestyler and there's a special event, you can have wine. You can even have a little dessert if you want because you're a lifestyler.
Okay,
right?
I can. It's like a confession, and Gina knows. True confessions here. So I had my regular dinner. It was very good. I ordered the salmon. I did not order the
last
pasta.
night at the party, right?
The party, and there was a couple of potatoes, little potatoes on it. I could only eat half the salmon, so I saved it. I brought it home, but they filled my glass with wine, which I love, and you know.
You don't
and
think I
then
like
my
wine?
Cousin,
Did I have any wine?
Yes, you. No,
No. I love wine.
Okay, so. So,
That's the wine.
so
Yeah,
what
that's
happened was they asked, my niece was sitting next to me, Susan. So they said, would you like some wine? She said, no, but he brought her wine anyway. So I took her glass and I had her glass. So that was my second glass of wine. Okay. So what happened was
Dessert
they brought
came.
out dessert.
And Susan's dish.
With
Susan
the
had
wine, I was
the
a little-
fattest. I
I
said,
was a
Susan,
little
you
feeling-
had the biggest.
feeling very happy
Piece of cake
with
ever.
myself because I bought a new dress. The dress looked great, you know, and everybody, oh, you look so good. Da, 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 da. So they bring me this thin slice of cake.
Like
which was
everybody else had.
perfect. But they brought Susan a thicker slice. So I said, oh, I'm going to go for the chocolate in the middle. So I ate all the chocolate, and it was like a pudding kind of thing.
Mousse.
But then mousse. Then I looked over at Susan's plate, and she wasn't finishing hers. She had a nice serving of chocolate. So I took my fork and I went, I think I'll have some of Susan's. And that was, and I don't know because I don't know what happened to me. The wine.
Well, we talk about alcohol causes your inhibitions to go away, and it just becomes a feast. So
I have to face this like I faced quitting smoking.
exactly.
I am not going to gain weight. I am not going to do this to myself. I'm going to do exactly what I did, turn my brain around, and just follow what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I love the food. I do cook the food all the time. I mean, I made enchiladas the other day. And
We had them for lunch today. So
They were
great.
very good.
And
It was
she's
good.
portioned out her lunches.
And I love the food. If you look in my closet, my food pantry, Gina saw it today. There was nothing in there but Mama G.
Yeah, but guess
food.
what? You go to the store, you can buy whatever you
Oh,
want.
that's true.
So
That's true.
here's the deal. Christy, on Tuesdays is her weigh-in day. By the way, I bet I've gotten weigh-ins from all of you folks, so make sure that happens. She's getting on the scale. I won't be with her tomorrow morning, but she'll be sending me that little snapshot of those pretty little toes and that weight. And then we're going to talk about what this is going to look like for her. And what's nice is maybe, remember we always talk about that faith, and you guys know I'm a pretty faithful person. Maybe we were transplanted here just in time to pull this one out of the ditch and get her back on track, right?
But Gina, my weight is not going to come down in one day.
You're right.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's going to be maybe even
Right.
more because
Right.
of what I ate
Exactly.
last
But
night.
guess what?
But tonight I ate very good. But I just had this much wine tonight.
Did I have any wine?
No.
Okay. So that's what I have to say with Cousin Christy tonight. And then we'll introduce you to Cousin Mildred here because she's got all kinds of thoughts in her head that maybe we'll, you have questions, right? So think about some of the questions you've been talking to me about
Coming over there.
in a minute.
So,
So-
Sam.
You're going to say, Sam's not on right now, so too bad.
She's not there.
Not right now. She's in Hawaii.
Oh, right.
So I want to talk about a couple things. So several of you have struggled with going out to eat. I have, I've been on vacation. So I really thought I'm going to show them every stinking meal that I eat when I'm on vacation and how I go about making the right choices. Apparently, nobody pays attention to them because you guys are still struggling with what to do when you go out to eat, right? So what I've talked to you guys about is this. And maybe, Samantha B. and I understand there's a ton of information we throw your way. So understand this. This is one thing we're going to do. We have Mindy with us, our new admin assistant. And thanks to Felicia, one of our gals in the group, my cousin, she suggested that you guys should send out an email every week kind of recapping what's happened the previous week. So we're going to do that. We're going to start doing that. Because, you know, the way Samantha B hates the way I chase after you guys. Where are you? Where's my pie chart? Well, Mama B, she's not allowed to do that anymore. So you're going to get an email, and it's going to say, here's the link to the Monday night call. Have you watched it yet? Mama G posted 3 new recipes. Have you tried them yet? We'll kind of, you know, go down there and give you information that's happened on the Facebook group and on the website and what's been going down. So that now, in case you missed something on Facebook, you can go look for it. If you missed new things put up on the website, you can go look for it. So I love that idea. Kudos goes to Felicita, and we will be doing that for you. Secondly, I highly recommend that you spend time on the Facebook group. I understand Facebook, you know, we have so much activity that you lose things. You have just got to, I get up in the morning, first thing I do, I look at texts and WhatsApp chats from you guys. First thing I do, that is what I spend, no joke, for at least an hour, first thing every morning at 6 a.m. working, making sure I'm connecting with you guys. By the way, if I miss a text from you, it's because I get 2 million texts. So be patient with Mama G, because occasionally if I look at it on my watch, it tells me on my phone that it's red, and then I forget about it. If you need me and I didn't respond, do not hesitate to send another text. Secondly, never fear that you're going to be waking Mama G up, because when Mama G is sleeping, the phone is off. So don't think, well, I didn't want to bother you. I didn't want to bother you because you were on vacation. It's a working vacation. I didn't want to bother you because I thought you were asleep. I turned my phone off. So bottom line is, ask for help. So if you go out to eat, all right, and then I go back to why we're going to send these emails out. One of the things you may have missed along the way is Mama G's plate. So Mama G will always tell you, if you are not home for a meal, guess what? Don't guess. I don't even want you guessing what your ounces and portion sizes of what you got. This is what I want. I would love a text with a link to a menu. I would love for you, with that link to that menu, to maybe give me a few ideas of what you think I should eat. And then you can say, Mama G, help me out. What do you think? So together we work the process, not Mama G telling you what to do. Secondly, your goal with your plates, and by the way, this is what it's going to look like when you are no longer logging at home, which, by the way, Lisa photo, someday you will not be logging your food. I know it sounds scary, right?
Hey, Lisa.
So that plate, right? Half of that plate, non-starchy veggies. If you don't know what a non-starchy veggie is compared to a starchy graded carb, you better text Mama G. We need some intervention, all right? Half of that plate, non-starchy veggies. 1/4 of that plate, starchy graded carbs. If you don't know what a starchy graded carb is, you better text Mama G. And 1/4 of that plate, protein, all right? For the most part, you should feel safe. You should feel content with that food, as long as you didn't get something covered in sauce or butter or oil or all of that, right? So that's when then we think about being mindful of what that oil is. And I'm going to talk about exactly what happened with Felicia today when she went to, Felicia, I'm going to say it. You went to a place with your family and there was 0 on that menu that I would have said okay about. But I could have intervened and discussed with her what it would look like. Because, and she put it on Facebook so I can say it, there's no HIPAA here because she already exposed herself. She gets a caprese salad. It has strawberries on it. Well, we don't usually eat fruit during our lunches and dinners. So, you know, potentially that was already problematic. There's no starchy grainy involved at all until she decides that, well, I really need the starchy grainy. So I might as well get the garlic toast. Felicia. I said, did it ever occur to you, number one, to ask if they had plain bread, even if it's white bread, still enriched. It's not very often, but it is at least enriched with some nutrition. It is a starch. It's not a grainy starch, but where did the butter slathered on top come from? Open your mouths, people. Advocate for yourselves. And then, by the way, it would have been perfectly acceptable for her to have not had the starchy grainy. And when she got home, she could have had some crackers. She could have made some other starchy grainy choice and incorporated that into her snack. Duh, what a concept. Don't self-sabotage, folks. So, Felicia today got herself back in good graces with Mama G, goes to a nice place, Urban Plate, I think it's called. Her family goes there all the time. She got the salmon. So they all do separate portion things. So she picked the salmon, she picked the beautiful broccolini that's sauteed in a little olive oil, probably garlic and seasoning, and she had the brown rice. And she texted me, oh my gosh, the portions are so big. I said, do me a favor. Cut everything directly in half, make a to-go box, and when you get home, let's weigh your leftovers, which is exactly half of what you ate. So now she knew exactly what she ate. What she found out was her macros were perfect, and now she knows next time she goes to Urban Plate and gets that same meal, or when she tomorrow eats her leftovers, that she has to add fat to it to improve the macro skews, right? And now she says, oh, next time when I go to Urban Plate, I can order that same thing and get a side of avocado, and I'll be situated. Lisa Photo knows the same thing when she goes to one of my favorite places, Panini Cafe, I think it's called, Delicious, and they give huge portions, and their salmon is delightful, and they make a whole wheat bulgur wheat, which is delightful, and they have beautiful roasted veggies. And Lisa knows she's going to get more than one meal out of that. And when she gets home with her portions, now she can actually weigh them and come up with another meal or two and utilize those leftovers. Because some of you come of the mentality of waste not, want not, and actually will eat anything in your refrigerator, even if Mama says don't do it, throw it away. So there are so many options out there. Number one, plan ahead. You know, I know that Felicia's family, they love to go out to eat. And so we've talked about, as a family, coming up with a list of restaurants that are acceptable to everybody, because not everybody wants to live the experiment or the lifestyle in her family, but it's not fair that she doesn't have options. So when you think about large restaurant chains, Cheesecake Factory, California Pizza Kitchen, those places, their menus are huge. And I promise you that you can go to any of them and find a Mama G approved meal, but you may need a little hand holding to figure out exactly what that would look like. The deferral, anywhere you go, when you go to a nice restaurant, is always going to be a grilled something of lean protein, whether it is a fish, whether it is a chicken, some kind of lean protein. You tell them you want it grilled. You tell them to put the sauce on the side. We then look for that starchy grainy if it's available. My clients have been known to bring starchy grainy with them just in case. But Mama G told you right here and now, if there is not an acceptable starchy grainy, that you may defer to the white starchy grainy, because it's not very often. I don't want this happening more than maybe 2 times a month. All right. But make sure it's not covered in butter. Make sure it's not covered in cheese. Make sure you're not dipping in the oil, right? Unless we have now calculated that in to our day, which, by the way, you cannot possibly do when you're away from home. So, and we know we can get those beautiful veggies anywhere we go. I don't care if they're sauteed in a little olive oil. You need fat. And if you're eating a lean piece of fish or a lean piece of chicken, you don't need to worry about it. Ask for help. Allow yourselves to be successful. Last night I had a beautiful piece of salmon. Immediately I gave half that salmon to my nephew. All right. I had beautiful, it was steamed vegetables. It was lovely. And it had 3 little baby roasted potatoes and a little olive oil on it. And that salmon sat in a little mustard sauce. And I will tell you, I put a mustard sauce recipe up on our Facebook page. I do not want you to even think about calculating it, but I encourage you to use a little bit of that made with non-fat yogurt and lemon and all kinds of seasonings and mustard. And that flavor, dipping the potato in, dipping the salmon in was outrageous, and I cannot wait to make it this week. All right? You hear my passion about food. The lucky thing for all of you is that your nutrition expert is a trained chef. We don't see that very often, I'll tell you that. It's a perk because I am going to make sure that anything that I suggest you to eat, any recipe I build for you, will not only be nutritious and delicious, but it will fit the Mama G plan with somewhere between 350 to 400 calories, right? You will get that 150 to 200 calories of starchy grainy carb built into the recipe. You will get that 50 plus calories of vegetable already built into the recipe, the non-starchy veggie, and you can feel rest assured that those macros will be spot on. Some of the recipes are not one pot meals, right? It may say there, you will need to add an ounce of Parmesan cheese or this many grams of avocado to hit the macros for this meal, right? Some of those recipes, like the macaroni and cheese sauce, will tell you that you need to add 150 calories of a starchy grainy carb. You need to add 50 calories of a veggie, and I might even give you an example of that. And one of the things I'm going to do now with all new recipe builds, and then we'll go back with Mindy, poor Mindy, is that I'm going to put on there exactly the amount of calories from your starchy grainy versus the number of calories that came from your non-starchy veggie and anything else that's relevant, because maybe you want to. I've got a couple people with some health concerns who can't have gluten. So, by the way, we eat beautiful, nutritious, and delicious food that is gluten-free all the time because gluten only is in certain wheat products. So we all do it, and we don't need to be gluten-free, but some of our clients do need to be gluten-free. So maybe, for instance, like the lemon chicken stew that has whole wheat orzo in it, I might say to you, Lisa Photo, it has 150 calories of orzo in there. All we need to do is swap out 150 calories of a gluten-free pasta, or even better, a quinoa or something else like that, right? So I really want to make this easy for you, but I really want you to understand the process. And that's why we're going to delve a little bit more next week into some of the details when it comes to why do we want to eat our macros in the way we're eating them? Why do we eat the amount of calories we eat? Why do we include the amount of cardiovascular we include? We really want you to feel so comfortable when somebody says to you, hey, you look so good. What are you doing? How did you lose the weight? What kind of diet you on? You know, we want you to feel comfortable and say, you know what? It's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. And I finally made a decision to care for myself, right? To treat my body with care. That I want to live a long, healthy, independent life. And I'm doing this with calculated eating of nutritious and delicious food. Well, how could you eat carbohydrates? I heard they're bad for you. Well, wait a minute. Why aren't you eating high protein? I want you to know why. Not just because Mama G said, okay? Mildred, come over here. Let's get you in here for a second. Christy, you can just slide over. She didn't have to say anything.
See you later.
She wants to just scoot over.
I'll just say hi.
So Cousin Millie staying at her house, having a delightful time. And one of the best things is being away from home in somebody else's kitchen. And I get to make all kinds of things because I don't have to, you know, clean my house and fix the beds and work like I normally do.
Hi,
so
everyone.
Cousin Millie joined us.
Sister.
It's Christy's sister.
Sister.
So Millie came to the experiment like November 2016. So almost 2 years ago, and was successful. We did not have everything that's available that we have today, right? The website didn't exist. We didn't have the macro cheat sheet. We didn't have a game plan.
Yeah.
We just were, you know, we had some basic parameters and it was successful. You put your head down. You knew that you wanted to lose a little bit of weight. You didn't have any health concerns at that time.
No.
And by the way, this one, she's 69 years old. these ladies, thank God that I have half of their genes because I feel really good about this. I'm like, this could be Mama G. Feeling really good, feeling positive about this, but successful. And then, they travel a lot. She's retired. Her husband's still working, but they have the capability of traveling, empty nesters, hopefully not empty so long. Hopefully you'll get a grandbaby someday soon.
First she's got to find
We got to get the man. If you know anybody, around 30 to 35 years of age in the New York City area.
Right, exactly.
We will be interviewing.
No one in your state. I'll miss that too much.
But the bottom line is that she was successful because she put her head down, and it was temporary. You kept some of those habits. You continued to eat a healthy breakfast. You continued to do your exercise.
Absolutely.
Now, it's a year later, year and a half later, she goes to the doctor, and her doctor says, look, you've got some issues with your cholesterol, right?
Yes.
Blood lipids,
yes.
And that you need to lose 10 pounds. Now, I hate the fact that he gave her a number because we have no idea, what's that number, by the way? We have no idea if that's going to be the factor, maybe just being a little more tight with her exercise, increasing her strength training, which you really weren't doing. She's very active, plays tennis. That wasn't until she broke her wrist. By the way, another fellow experimenter, she might be on the call, Kathy Froelich, fell this morning on her walk.
Oh, no.
And has a hairline fracture in her wrist.
Oh.
So you're not alone.
Which one is she?
I don't think she's on right now. Point being is injuries happen, folks. Doesn't mean we don't exercise, but you did derail yourself a little bit. She was in a cast, and she kind of took her exercise to a much slower, lower capability. So eating stays the same, right? You're exercising not as much. Maybe you're feeling a little bad for yourself because you're not being able to play tennis and you're not doing your activities. You're home more. Perhaps the food wasn't as dialed in. And, so this is how we don't make progress when we made a decision that we wanted to reach a goal. So she knew in April that she was going to see her doctor again in August. And, the goal was like, I bet we can take off 5 to 10 pounds. That not being the problem. My goal was to improve those blood lipids, right? The cholesterol, all of those levels, the triglycerides, the LDLs, which are the bad guys, because with that increase in those cholesterol levels, we have now increased our risk of heart disease, stroke, cancers, diabetes, and the like. That's all that I care about. Is there a perk to paying attention to your food, being in a calorie deficit, increasing your exercise? 100%. You're going to lose some body fat. You're going to get stronger. You're going to feel better. But for me, Mama G, and Samantha B, we're concerned about your health. So Mildred knows, we've had a talk, right, Mil? That we got to tighten things up, that it's not forever. She goes on vacation in 4 weeks. They go on vacation several times a year. The goal is when 4 weeks from now is that, guess what? Maybe you're going to drop a few pounds. That would be good. Also, what will happen during that time is that she will improve her blood lipids. There is about the improvements that we want to worry about, what you gain, right? It's not about what you lose, it's about what you gain. And then when you get to your vacation, the goal is maintenance mode. So you can enjoy a glass of wine. You can enjoy a bite or two of dessert, right? You continue with your exercise. And then when you get home, back to it, right? You put your head in the game, you're weighing, you're measuring, you're doing all those things. And she's great. They're going on a cruise. She will take her nuts and all of those things. Don't laugh.
I do.
We all do it.
I do.
Everybody in the room does it.
I'm
We
possessed.
all do it. Lisa, you did it. Alicia, you did it. Karen doesn't have to do it because she just visited her daughter, and then next week she's coming to Mama G. She's going to be cooking with Mama G and exercising with Mama G. Kim knows she can come anytime she wants to Mama G, who will feed her and exercise her. But the bottom line here is it doesn't have to be all or none. We can make our way steadily down to reach our goal, because the goal is for you to live a long, healthy life so that you can enjoy those grandbabies when they get here, and that you can enjoy a nice, healthy life with your husband. That's the goal here, people. It is not about all or none. It is about making transitions to be healthier for a longer period of time. Right, Chris? Right. So
her sister is here. My sister is here.
My sister is here. Our cousin
and our
Felicita's here. And everybody
Family.
is participating in their own way. All right. only Mildred at this point is coming back into the experiment with her head down for the next 4 weeks. The other gals are trying to make healthier choices, incorporate more nutritious and delicious food, incorporate starchy creating carbs. Oh, let's just talk about this before I sign off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a story, then I'm going to sign off, get this thing record or up on the website, and then if you have any questions, I will stay on with you, okay? So my sister says, I eat Fiber One. And I said, she said, there's no sugar in it. And I'm thinking, man, it must taste terrible. Fiber Run, which is bran.
Cereal.
But then when you look at the box, and I think I'll post it on Facebook, it's got all kinds of added insoluble and soluble fibers, right? Which had no calories. They just add fiber. So this one serving of Fiber One cereal with no sugar added, because you've had fiber cereals that are so sweet, right? Because they put so much sugar in it, so it kind of defeats what she's like, but there's 24 grams of fiber in it. And I said, so what? Why are we putting fiber up on the pedestal? By the way, my goal would be for all of us to be eating at least 25 grams of fiber a day. All of you could look on MyFitnessPal and report that. So I will do a post about fiber, and you can all post what your average fiber intakes have been. Mine's around 30 plus. So I said, why do we need to get one serving of bran cereal with 24 grams of fiber when we can eat Dave's Delicious Killer Bread, when we can have brown rice and beans and legumes and vegetables and fruit and all of those things and get our fiber across the course of the day? By the way, we want to use that scrub brush fiber all day, every day through our intestines to knock out all those potential precancerous cells that cause us to have colorectal type cancers, right? GI cancers. So I'm looking, why is it sweet? She says it's sweet. She said there's no sugar added. Guess what? Sucralose, non-nutritive sweetener. And not only has she been feeding it to herself, she's been feeding it to my precious little 3-year-old twin grand babies.
You got in trouble? I thought it was.
Felicia's laughing.
We all
Felicia's
got in trouble.
I thought it was
Guess what?
cereal.
Trouble. I got in trouble.
She's throwing it away when she gets home.
I haven't
Even
had
though
it
she is of the waste not, want not mentality, she grew up with depression parents. So did I, but I have a little more sense in me. It's going into trash.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
I didn't know.
That is chemicals. You're not feeding my babies chemicals. Oh, she may not have any more left because they're probably feeding it the parents. Anyway, this is why we read labels. This is why Mama G is so annoying. This is why Samantha B has the reputation of good cop and Mama G is the bad cop. But I don't care, because guess who cares for you? Mama G loves you, cares for you, and once you come into her life, you're kind of, because it's hard to get away from me. But
she didn't have one.
anyway, and I'm not drinking any
That's what I
alcohol.
was thinking.
So, you know what Mama G always says. It's not about what you lose, folks. It is all about what you gain. Let's go get it.